Aysem, could you tell me a little bit about the keynote presentation you had this morning was really interesting, and Turkcell's view of digital transformation and how operators are evolving how they act and do business.
At Turkcell, we have been transforming the way we do our business in the last 2.5 years, and it all started with a change in the mindset. And the mindset is about transforming the way we approach the business from being a technology-focused telecommunications service provider to service-focused experience provider. At the end of the day, our customers are either people or businesses. They're real people, not just subscribers. And I'm thinking of myself, I'm thinking of anybody I know, as they go through their days, which is exactly 1,440 minutes. They do experience things. They're at home, in the workplace, on the go, in the cab, in the out and about in the city, etc. So it's all about operators creating those experiences, enabling and enhancing those experiences, and make them more memorable, more richer experiences, fuller experiences. So our industry, telecommunication industry, I think, when I'm saying this with no arrogancy, have been failing at recognizing that this fact, which is it's all about the experience. If you think of yourself as an infrastructure provider, you act in one way. If you think of yourself as the experience designer and the creator and the provider, you do it in a different way. And in fact, you can do it in such a way that is not actually a beatable competitive strategy. Why? Because we are a licensed operator. We can do all these, we can create all these digital experiences with capabilities that only a licensed operator can. And that's exactly what the industry, in my opinion, has been missing over years and years. We handled all this data, and we thought about the data as the increase in the demand for data as a curse, which was actually a blessing. And my boss, my CEO of Turkcell, he always says telecommunication industry probably is the only industry who complains about excess demand. Increased need for using more data, increased demand for consuming more data is actually an opportunity as opposed to something that we should be complaining about. And that's really the opportunity ahead of us. Focus on the experiences, create the experiences, employing all the digital technologies that we have available to us today, mobility, over internet, over mobile technology, etc. But do them in such a way that the over-the-top service providers cannot really match, because we do them by differentiating them with feature sets that only a licensed operator can, because we have all that infrastructure, we have all that spectrum, and we can build, we can do credit scoring, we can do monitoring. I can manage your digital identity. I can allow my customers to do digital payments, use credit cards. We can do all these stuff that over-the-top players cannot do. And that's where the competitive opportunity lies ahead of us.
That's really interesting. So with the mindset change that's happening within Turkcell and within the operators, how do you see that translating into a tangible, different experience for the consumers?
Well, we started the transformation from focusing on the fundamentals, and the fundamental question is really, and I will ask you a question, a rhetorical question. What was the last time you woke up in the morning and you said, oh, let me go to my next best telecommunication service provider and get myself some fresh 20 gigabytes? Nobody says that. But people wake up in the morning and with the idea of going and subscribing to that TV service, subscribing to that music service, subscribing themselves to a cloud service where they can post their photographs and documents and videos, or just download a messenger app, call their loved ones, message their loved ones, share photographs, all those stuff that people want to do. So that's where we started at Turkcell. That's where we started, from fundamentals. If people had abundant enough gigabytes in their pockets, what were they going to do with them in the first place? So we created a service called TV Plus, digital TV streaming service. We created for music. We created Fizzy. For cloud services, we created Livebox. For messenger and live platform, we call it. We created Bib. We created a magazine reader. So that's where we started, from the fundamentals. But now, our customers are not only consumers, we have also business customers. We are also creating those experiences for businesses, whatever the needs are in terms of improving their efficiency, productivity in the form of business applications. And then, of course, looking ahead, there's 5G coming, I'm sure we will talk about during this conversation, where we will see more speed, we will see more data, and we will see things and places getting smarter, which is the intersection between the consumers and businesses. All those B2B2C experiences where people interact with things, and that creates a value chain, and the operator is best positioned to add value and capture value from that value chain. I'm referring to things like smart car, smart home, smart office, all the smart places where people can interact through the smartphones and through the tablets, and they can have better experiences. Again, it goes back to the experience. So we see the entire thing from the lenses of providing the experiences, as opposed to thinking of ourselves as just a handler of the data.
On the experiences point, you talked about some of the new services that Turkcell have launched. Is the strategy moving forward that it will be about launching new services internally, or will there be more partnerships with other third parties to create these services for customers?
Perfect. Good question, because we do believe that Turkey's Turkcell, we see it as our job, as our responsibility to accelerate the transformation of the entire economy in this digital era. That will entail obviously providing the best experiences to consumers. As I explained, that will entail helping small, medium businesses to transform the way they do business by using digital technologies. But that will also involve incorporating an industry along with us, ecosystem of partnerships, to enhance all the solutions we can provide together, as opposed to trying to do all the innovation on our own. And for that, we have created a very, I would say, customized and differentiated e-commerce strategy. We call it Turkcell Secure Commerce. What that means is, regardless of if you are a three people company, or 30 people startup, or 300 people, or 3,000 people enterprise, if you have a digital solution that you want to bring to customers, you want to deploy into the market and penetrate and get a lot of people use it, what Turkcell offers to these digital service providers is, by integrating what we call a fast entry, a digital identity solution, and a payment, PaySell we call it. It's either direct carrier billing or credit card transaction e-commerce tool. So by incorporating the digital identity and the payment, we call this Turkcell Secure Commerce. So we open the doors and invite all these partners or potential partners come and create these joint value propositions, because we think that where we can create really a lot of value as a licensed operator, again going back to fundamentals, we are best positioned to manage digital identity of a customer, and associated with that identity, a digital wallet or a credit card to enable completion of the transactions, which makes it the whole thing as a secure commerce. Think about it like you go to a hotel, they authenticate your identity on the front desk, they give you a room number, and then they get the print of your credit card, because now they know Aysem is really this person, I authenticated her, and this is her valid payment tool, and now she can stay in the hotel, and with that room number she can go eat, she can go to spa, etc. So you stay in the hotel, you checked in. During the stay, you give your room number to every transaction, and while you're checking out, you say your room number, and then they just print your bill, pay, invoiced against that credit card. It's exactly the same thing, enabling our partners, allowing to securely logging in, securely completing the transactions, which makes it a whole secure commerce. We're going to follow the strategy. It will be really the backbone of our e-commerce platform, Turkcell Secure Commerce Platform. And we associate this with also the traffic management, which is going to happen through Yani, our own search engine. And this will hopefully this will add a lot of value to our industry, to our economy, not just Turkcell, but help others to grow digitally as well.
That's great. I guess moving on then to 5G, what's the role of 5G in these services and others, and which use cases do you think are going to come to the fore quickest for 5G within Turkcell in Turkey?
Yes, I think moving into 5G, the first and foremost, probably what comes to mind is the verticalized solutions and digitization of the verticals. In the era of 4G, what we have seen, verticals forming, and technology being one of them as one of the verticals, like finance, manufacturing, automotive, healthcare, etc. In the era of 5G, I think, and which is soon, which is around the corner, what we will see happening is the technology being inherent part of all the verticals as opposed to being a standalone vertical itself. And the way it will manifest itself is going to be in the form of speed, a lot more, on the multiples of 10 times and 20 times more speed, more data because everybody is digitizing the experiences, but also more data because people and things will interact. There will be a vast amount of need and vast amount of opportunity around the tools to analyze the data, turning it from unprocessed raw data, which can be the oil, if you sell it unprocessed, maybe you'll get $60 a barrel, but if people who gets the oil and processes it makes millions and millions of dollars money, it will be the same relationship exists between raw data and processed data. So that speed will generate a lot of data. All the tools that will need to be processing that data, such as artificial intelligence, and all the experiences that will be created based on that, augmented reality, virtual reality, all these things will happen at a very high speed. And I think we will see them coming into reality in the form of verticalized industrial Industry 4.0 type of solutions. We will see a lot of transformation happening in the small medium enterprises. We will see a lot of innovation and use cases coming in the intersection, B2B2C, IoT, we call it smart places, where people and things interact. Those value chains that's been created, telecom operators, if we stop thinking of ourselves as the infrastructure provider, if we think of ourselves as the data processor and the provider of a digital experience, digital service, which is another name for processed data, and if we continue to act as a digital operator, we call ourselves the first digital operator in the world, I think telecom service providers are best positioned to capture that opportunity, and more than anybody else.
That's great. And just finally on the 5G theme, you talked about some of the different industrial verticals. Which of those are Turkcell kind of focused on partnering with for the first kind of iteration of 5G services?
I do believe that however many verticals you would split the economy into, you would see a player like Turkcell going into all. That said, probably in the early phases, automotive, agriculture, Turkey being an agriculture hub in itself, a lot of economy relying on agriculture, energy, healthcare, Of course, we cannot forget about education. It's all about educating the future generations. Probably these would be the early stage focus areas where we will be doing a lot of work, a lot of research and development, a lot of new solutions, all with the idea of creating the experiences. As I mentioned, we gave ourselves a name. We said we are a digital operator. And this digital operator found body in the form of a digital brand we launched in Turkey called Lifecell. We did launch it in Northern Cyprus as well, where we have fully owned subsidiary, and lately, very recently actually, we launched an offer called Lifecell in Germany through a partnership with Deutsche Telekom. Lifecell is a purely digital brand targeting consumers, a high premium, an enhanced and superior digital offer. I think we'll see further iterations of Lifecell in the 5G era. Maybe we'll see similar iterations for businesses, similar iterations for institutions. Public sector needs a lot of touching of 5G developments, and we'll see a lot of B2B transactions where Lifecell-like relationships will form. I think that's what we're going to see in the future.
And then I've just got a couple of questions for you about leadership.
Sure.
You've talked a lot about the evolution of the operator and how you're acting differently and you're providing different types of services for your consumers. As a leader, how do you encourage your staff to embrace that change and act differently and provide these different kind of services?
So we have to stay true to what we're saying, which is this is the digital age and data is the new oil. So we have transformed ourselves, we have transformed Turkcell with a very data-driven strategy. First and foremost, I'm leading the digital services, solutions and partnering at Turkcell, and all these digital services that we used as tools to drive this transformation from network operator to experience provider. We focused on a number of these services quite heavily, and we made the data about the performance of these services visible to anyone and everyone in the company. And we spoke the language of real-time performance-based metrics, and we took immediate actions. If we saw something not going in a direction that we wanted it to go, we took immediate actions because we have this thing called Digital Cockpit, a real-time monitoring tool where we watch the results and we take responsibility and we take corrective actions. In my opinion, leadership comes from authenticity, which to me personally means you have to be true to yourself. If you want people to follow you, if you want people to believe in a story that you're telling, you have to believe yourself. All by your heart, all your mind, with your entire body, you have to believe in this thing. When we wrote the digital operator story, as a leadership team, we locked ourselves in a room and we imagined when we wake up to the morning of January 1st, 2019, if we were to see all these headlines in all global newspapers that talked only about Turkcell but nothing else, what were those headlines saying about Turkcell? So we first envisioned what that future looks like. That's where the digital operator story came from, and we believed in that story. We said that we will make this happen, and we walked the talk. We started acting as if we were a digital operator, and soon enough, things have started to change in that direction. Moral of my story: people follow if there is good leadership. If people are not following, there is no leader in the picture. And for people to follow, they need to be believing into a future story. They need to be believing into a very exciting vision. They need to be able to see themselves in that future picture, so they are energized. And for them to follow where you're going with that energy, you need to have a plan and you need to execute well. So it's envisioning, energizing, and executing. And I believe we have done well on all these three areas. As a personally, myself, maybe you can see it, but there is one thing that I think is the secret success recipe for anybody else. There is nothing more, I am forgetting the word, but there is nothing more viral than positive energy. You have to believe in that story, you have to go in that direction, and you have to radiate the positive energy. Believe yourself, go in that direction, and people follow if you radiate that positivity. We won't win with a loser mind. We can win with a winner mind. You have to have it, and you have to show it. And if people see that, they follow.
When you're looking for future leaders for Turkcell,
Yes.
what attributes do you look for in people who are coming through the ranks?
I believe that anybody who wants to be part of, anybody who has a passion for writing a story that will be remembered, anybody who will be ready to go all the way, not just half-hearted, but anybody who wants to do things in a different way, anybody who wants to innovate, anybody who wants to generate, anybody with that passion and energy probably may find a place. Of course, I'm not talking about the hard skills like the education needed for your job, those assuming a candidate have the right education and the right credentials and the right background for the job in question. The attitude, that passion for succeeding, and the desire to become part of the digital operator and to lead the way, being the digital operator. I think that positive energy and the positive outlook, I think those are the candidates that I would have. I would sit down and have a nice word with. This will matter in the era of 5G.
That's great. Thank you very much.
I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We're actually